Hey guys, welcome back to Real Housewives Recaps. Today, we're talking Harry and Meghan. So, this is the second part, aka the last 3 episodes, thank God, that aired of the Netflix documentary, if you want to call it that, of Harry and Meghan. You guys, I have so much to talk about with this. I thought the first part was bad. This blew my mind on the woe is me of it all. Oh, we have so much to talk about. I don't know why I'm surprised, but I can't even believe to the depths of which these two have sunk with these last 3 episodes. We'll get into it. First, I wanted to say a huge thank you for being here. I've had so many people subscribe lately. Thank you. If you're new here, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. If you've been with me the whole time, a huge thank you to you as well. You all mean so much to me. I read all the comments. I love them. Thank you so much. Okay, without further ado. Oh, if you want to further support the channel, do check out Patreon, patreon.com/Real Housewives Recaps. That's where I do my deep dives. You can check out, I'm working through Sex and the City, so check that out. Okay, without further ado, you guys, the second 3 episodes dropped, and can I just say, again, I mean, just as I said, I don't know why I'm even surprised anymore with these two, but holy cow, the lengths to which these two will stoop to, it just blows my mind. I don't even know why anymore, but it does. I have so much to say about this. I have so many notes, you guys. Just right off the bat, I mean, well, okay, first of all, it's broken off into 3 parts. The first part is about the wedding. The second part is about them leaving. The third part, I don't even know. It was like leftover footage, woe is me, extra stuff. We'll get into all that, but that's kind of how it's set up, just so you know. So I have these pictures, which you'll see in the background. We'll talk about as we dive into each part. But I just want to kind of go over my overall thoughts on it all. If you missed it, I did recap the first 3 episodes, so go back and watch those. So let's dive into the second 3. So right off the bat, we get into the shift. They talk about the shift of it all. I'm just going to, right off the bat, these two a-holes talk about, and this is a quote, they talk about stealing limelight. Harry is saying this, from people born to do this. And by that, it shifts the balance. If you're like, Jen, what are you talking about? Well, let me just tell you. They think in their twisted minds that the palace is jealous of them being more popular, of them stealing the limelight from people. Can you even believe this? They had their friend saying internals at the palace felt threatened. We talk about the bubble that these two live in, but to hear the audacity of this, of them saying things like this, implying that they were more popular than the queen herself. Seriously? And that the palace wanted them to fail because they were jealous? Are they teenagers? What are we doing here? What are we talking about? So, So are we supposed to feel sorry for them about their popularity? I think they seem confused on what the woe is me aspect is throughout this thing because it continued to shift. At the beginning, it's all about the palace is jealous because they're so popular. I'm not even kidding you guys. I'm blown away by the audacity. Stealing limelight from people born to do this. That's why they think the palace was jealous. Just take that in and think about that. They go into spending the night at Buckingham and waking up, and Meghan's on the front page of the Telegraph, you guys. She's like, oh, Harry, it's my fault. Can I just say, by the way, she just doesn't come across as genuine or likable at all throughout the series. And believe me, I'm not letting Harry off the hook. I have a lot of people saying, oh, it's more her than him. I used to think that too, but I truly think it's equals after seeing all this because he's just as bad as she is and they belong to each other and they deserve each other and good luck and the hell of your own making. But this whole, pretending to be genuine to me just comes across as the most ingenuine thing I've ever seen. So she's like, Oh, Harry, I'm in the front page of the Telegraph. It's all my fault. What? It's just another excuse for him to compare his wife to his mother. And if you ask me, it's getting weird. She is not his mother. And yeah, we all know that. Okay. They don't seem to know who they're mad at throughout this documentary. They're just mad, you guys. It's not fair. First, they're mad because they're too popular and they stole. I don't know. They made the palace threaten. I can't even get through this without laughing. I'm serious. They don't know who they're mad at. It's so ridiculous and contrived. I don't know what the word is. It's just ridiculous. Okay. They don't know who they're mad at. At first it's the media and then it's the palace for instigating things and destabilizing things with their own, quote, popularity. Yep, that's their words again. And then Harry turns it into a race thing again, saying, if you can't see why Meghan's not popular, I can't help you. Well, Harry, if you can't see that you two are so full of yourselves, living in your own bubble, out of touch with reality, then I can't help you. Okay? So if people, according to them, if people call out Meghan, then it's racist. But they sure don't mind calling out everybody else. They sure don't mind throwing Kate under the bus, which, hello, they did again. That's allowed, but you sure can't call out Meghan because then you're racist. Make it make sense. I'm sorry, if they're going to cast stones, they can't be surprised when they're cast back at them. I'm going to go ahead and applaud the palace and say they've remained quiet and stoic, and say what you will. I don't care if people are royalists or not. That's up to you. But where are the attacks from the palace? It's only coming from these two. I go back to the woe is me of it all. But so they're allowed to mock Kate and call her out and say that she made Meghan cry with no explanation, rather than the stories that have come out about Meghan making Kate cry. And yet again, if you call out Meghan, then you're racist. But if you call out anybody else, then it's totally fine, as long as it fits their agenda. So they're back to being mad at the media again. Sure. They literally say that the media likes to cause outrage because outrage elicits clicks and elicits money. Hello? No self-awareness? What are we doing right now? That's all you two are doing. You're trying to create outrage and elicit clicks to elicit money. You just sold your souls to the devil, aka Netflix, with all your private information. For what reason? To elicit outrage, to elicit money. So again, these two, it's just their own little bubble. The rules don't apply to them, just everybody else when it fits their agenda. It just make sense, right? But isn't that what they're banking on with their podcast, their book, and Netflix? What else would they have to talk about? They're so dreadfully boring. You know what I mean? So let's cause some outrage and get some clicks and get some money. And here we are. Harry speaks of royal life and says, for him and Meghan, it's enough of the pain, enough of the suffering. We're saying the same thing. Enough. Here we are again. You're capitalized on your quote unquote pain and suffering, which, hello, most of us are having trouble heating our houses right now and just surviving and, not living paycheck to paycheck to pay for groceries. And yet here you are in your private mansion with your private videographers complaining of your pain and suffering. This whole last 3 episodes were the most complainy pieces of garbage I've ever seen. Don't even get me started because they disrespect my queen, and that's my queen, and fuck yourselves. Okay. Toria, hello, says that Meg was, quote, constantly picked at by these vultures. Again, I ask you, who are the vultures here? Because it seems to be Harry and Meghan. Meghan says that she wanted to get help for her depression, but wasn't allowed to. Okay, can we just go where Levi put in touches? Harry is clearly having a conversation with Kate and William about the importance of getting help, mental health, and, acknowledging feelings like that. And yet he claims, or they claim, she claims, that she wasn't allowed to get help when she needed it. I'm calling bull fucking shit on that. Make it make sense. It doesn't. He talks about King Charles and saying that his dad would say, "Darling boy, you can't take on the media." Those are direct words from Harry. So again, I say, Harry, you can't have it both ways. That your dad was this cold whatever that wouldn't help you guys and help get mental health. I keep saying help, but you know what I mean? And yet, in your own words, call you darling boy and giving you advice on this. He's just contradicting himself over and over. They talk about... So Harry goes into this whole thing about the quote-unquote principals. He didn't specifically say it, but it seems to be the major players in the Royals, right? And he calls it a dirty game. And basically what they do is they trade stories of the family. This is all according to Harry. He's not even implying. He's straight up saying that they don't talk to each other. So I'm just using examples here. Let's say Harry's guy doesn't talk to Kate's guy. Instead, they trade stories about each other. Like, if you don't do this story on Harry, I'll give you some dirt on Kate, is what he's saying. Except for then he goes on to say it all circles back to Meghan. They would only give up bad stories of Meghan, none of the rest. What? What are we talking about? Make it make sense. God, I can't even wrap my head around that. These two are just the most woe is me people I've ever seen in my whole life. They claim, she threw out a claim, Meghan threw out a claim that they couldn't text a photo to friends. What? If that's true, how were you and Harry able to text when you were recording? Again, make it make sense. It doesn't make any sense. They talk about, I think it's Meghan that says, why take a beautiful moment and try to ruin it? So again, I say, hello, pot, kettle. You're taking beautiful moments away from, the royal family and trying to ruin it. Doria says that they were stripped of their privacy. And I say again, hello, wake up. Where are we right now? You sold your soul to Netflix, complaining about your lack of privacy. They... Oh, God, so much. They talk about expecting support from people they're closest to. But again, I go, this is the most hypocritical thing I've ever heard. Those words literally came out of their mouth. We expect support from people we are closest to, and that this is a dangerous path. Again, where's your support for the people you're closest to? You make it seem like William is the worst and Kate is this cold bitch, right? Where is the support for them? You're asking for support, but you're not willing to give it in return. So Harry, in a continuation of his pity party, says it was clear that the media wouldn't protect Meghan. What? So again, it was the media is the enemy. No, the palace is the enemy. No, now it's the media is the enemy again. Okay. And that the floodgates opened. Meghan says, I wasn't being thrown to the wolves. I was being fed to the wolves. What would you say you were doing right now with all these private stories, all this insider information that you're claiming to give about the royals? What would you say you were doing? Would you say that you were throwing them to the wolves or perhaps feeding them to the wolves? They talk about Thomas Markle, and this is controversial because I've had a lot of comments about this. Okay. So a lot of you guys are very pro Thomas Markle and what's his sister? Samantha. Okay, fine. I get it. A lot of you came down on me because I said they seem like nightmares. But I'm just telling you how I truly feel. I'm not going to agree with everything everybody says, right? We're just not going, just like you're not going to agree with everything I say, and that's okay. I do think that the dad seems like a bit of a nightmare, but with a big asterisk, he might be a jackass for selling stories to the media because it seems like that's what happened. Maybe I have it wrong. I'm okay with it. He might be a jackass for doing that. But does that warrant cutting him off completely? I don't think so. I don't think so. More and more stories are coming out. You guys have sent me a lot of stuff about how her mom was not there in her life, but now that it's convenient for her, her mom's there. Maybe that's true. I don't know. I still have my feelings on that family, but regardless, take my feelings out of it. Let's talk about your feelings. A lot of you feel strongly that that's just another thing she's lied about. And maybe that is the case. I don't know. I just have trouble with I have trouble with it all. All right, let's take my feelings out of it. Let's talk more about your feelings. She sure likes to villainize him. But then the whole documentary got confused on what it's going to be and decided, again, they weren't sure who the enemy was, the media, the palace, the royal family, going back and forth. Now they've decided that to make this documentary all about that letter she wrote her dad. She made it seem like that she was forced into writing a letter she didn't want to write. She sent it discreetly. Of course, again, this is all coming from Meghan, who can do no wrong in her own eyes, right? No self-awareness at all. She sends it to her business manager so that person can forward it on to her dad, so that way nobody will get a hold of it. She claims it was signed for by somebody that's not Thomas, just like she claims that he was not texting her after the wedding. Remember that came up in the last 3-parter documentary thing. And he's come out since and says, no, that was me. Again, Meghan took the time to point out this was at the guidance of the royal family that she sent this thing. Well, when it was published, she decided to take legal action. So again, it's hard for me to care about this story because she's making it so much a part of this documentary, whereas we're losing focus. It's like she forgets who she's mad at. So then it switches to the Daily Mail, and it's like she took all these perceived, I'm not even saying they're real, I'm going to say perceived wrongs that were done to her, and channeled it into this lawsuit against the Mail. Harry blindly following, and again, I'm not taking him out of this equation. I think he's just as bad as she is, maybe even worse in terms of it's his family, and he does not have the balls to say, hey, enough. It's my family we're talking about. But he claims that she became the scapegoat for the palace. And they talk about how they literally had just said the breath before that the palace never explains. But then she's claiming that they will explain by making her the scapegoat. Again, their math doesn't add up. It doesn't make sense. She claims that the litigation, this Daily Mail thing, was the catalyst for the unraveling because nothing is ever her fault. If you listen, everything is a grievance. Everything is done to them. Nothing is ever either of their fault. They're just the victims of their own making and their gilded cage, right? Harry talks about wanting to drop public funding, but wasn't that the whole thing? Is he didn't want... Sorry, I can't even get through it without laughing. He wanted to have his security paid for. Like, he threw a fit because his security was being pulled. Well, that would be public funding, no? So again, make it make sense. He tells a story about the Queen inviting him to stay over at Buckingham Palace and, speak with her, and him and Meghan come and stay. Well, then he claims that she got back with him and was like, oh, sorry, this isn't going to work. I'm busy all week. And this is where I got really upset because, as you know, I love the Queen, and Harry made it seem like the Queen didn't fully understand what was going on and that she was going on the advice given to her. So that takes away that she may have thought this through and thought he was wrong. He he, like Meghan, has this weird disease where they can't admit that they're ever in the wrong. So he can't admit that he was ever in the wrong or handled anything wrong, and that the Queen could have possibly disagreed with him. It's that she didn't know or fully understand, and that she was going on the advice given to her. And therein lies the crux of my, dislike of these two. They're so full of themselves and just, again, victim mentality and all that they can't even think, oh, hey, the Queen actually has had tons of experience and might know what she's talking about and how to handle something like that. Instead, she's being advised wrong because she didn't fully get on board with our plan to, backstab the royals. I don't know. It's just whatever fits their narrative. That's their truth at the moment. I don't even think they know what it is at this point. So this is where Harry pops out with that. They were willing to lie to protect my brother. They were not willing to tell the truth to protect us. You guys, I can't even. Again, if you've been with me a long time, thank you for being here. And you know that my favorite expression that I learned is, this is a load of pants. And you know what? This is a load of pants. What they're doing, it's a load of pants. This bullshit like this is a load of pants. Meghan has to pipe up with how predictable a woman to be blamed for the decision of the couple. How predictable, Meghan, that you have to go to these cliches like this and go with prejudice versus, an actual, sound argument. You always have to go to the woe is me argument rather than having the facts in front of you. How about that? They talk about hate accounts on Twitter. Okay. Welcome to Twitter. Hello. I'm a tiny channel. I've had that. It happens. Again, you didn't know this going into the royal family. I know you pretend not to have Googled him, but you have some common sense, right? It goes back to the curtsying thing again. Fuck off with that. What else? Meghan says that most people need to find someone to blame. And so then I say, okay, isn't that what you guys are doing right now with your pointing fingers at the family itself and the media? Just saying. Harry says it never had to be this way. I would say you guys made it this way. Meghan says the public must hate us, but no, they were sad we were leaving when they decided to hang up their royal duties. My God, I want to live in a delusional bubble like this, right? I mean, oh, to be so lucky. We got a lot from Tyler Perry, who apparently is godfather of Lilibet. I have no opinions either way on Tyler Perry. My only thing I would say is that Harry and Meghan seemed way more interested in talking about their celebrity friends than any actual friends or family for that matter. They made a point to talk about on camera that Beyonce had just texted them. Okay. Okay. What, am I supposed to like you guys better because of that? I'm just asking for a friend. Okay. Harry says it's like living in a soap opera where everyone views you as entertainment. Again, Harry, hypocrite Harry. Wouldn't you say that you were using your family as entertainment for us as we watch this Netflix documentary? Meghan goes into a fantastical story about some guy on an airplane that took a knee and told her, we appreciate everything you did for our country. But I thought everybody hated you, Meghan. Isn't that your story you're sticking with? And yet, you seem to have adoring fans, at least according to you. So, again, how can both be true? How does that work? She was happy that somebody saw the sacrifice she made, you guys. I hope you can read this or hear the sarcasm in my voice when I read that quote. Couldn't we say that about the royal family? What about the sacrifices they've made? So there's discussion of the Commonwealth, and this has become a huge issue. If you don't know, they are accused of editing out, I don't even think it's an accusation. You can straight up see they edited the Queen's speech in the first 3 episodes that she gave to fit their narrative about the Commonwealth. Go Google that, look that up if you don't know what I'm talking about, because it's fascinating. But whatever fits their story, that's what they're running with, right? And the continued woe is me moments, you guys, they had their security removed. They had to pay for it themselves. Oh, man, what are they going to do? You mean they had to get jobs? Nope, they didn't do that. They sold their story, which is what they've accused the rest of the family of doing. They talk about their freedom flight, which of course they had to document for this special. Like, how come we can all see it and they can't see it? I'm just wondering. Tyler calls Meghan abused. I don't think you should throw that word around. And again, I don't think you can say that when it's trouble of your own making. Just saying. We see lots of crying at the Vancouver house and having to move again because you guys, paparazzi found them. I can't even. You guys, I feel like I'm losing my mind. I just watched 3 hours of this shit, and here I am talking about it. I'm 26 minutes into this thing, and see, now I sound like them. I'm starting to whine. I'm really not. I don't know, just trying to collect my thoughts here. We go into... Oh, I found it fascinating. They talk about Philip's passing, but no mention of the Queen's passing. I don't know. Maybe I'll give them the benefit of the doubt and say maybe this thing was done filming by the time the Queen passed. I'm not sure, but it's pretty shitty that he couldn't even include anything, even after the fact, about the Queen. He talks about his grandfather being a man of service, and I would say, well, that sure didn't come, didn't translate to Harry. Going back for him was hard. And having talks and focusing on, you guys, he felt sorry for himself during his grandfather's funeral because of the way his part of the situation was being handled. He's had to make peace with never getting an apology. Where's your apology, jackass? We talk about Lilibet. No mention of naming her after the Queen. That's interesting how they left that out. More talk of asking Tyler Perry to be Lilibet's godfather. Great. Listen, make who you want godfather. That's not my issue. My issue is, again, let's ditch both our families and focus on celebrity instead. And what's funny about that is I literally wrote that note, and then they have Serena Williams pop up and do an interview. So again, let's focus on the celebrities. Yeah. That makes it seem like real, relatable people. We go back to Meghan's suit with the mail. It's hard for me to work up any care about this because I don't. It has to do with that letter to her dad. I just can't care about it. She used it as some sort of victory to wrap up this documentary. I use documentary in quotes. She also made a huge point of reconnecting with Ashley, her niece. Did anybody else feel like that was just a, hey, look, I don't cut all the family out of our lives. Here's a family member, a single family member that I still talk to. I'm relatable. And that's how it ends. Actually, no, it ends with her patting herself on the back again, to Meghan, reading her wedding speech that she made for Harry. Isn't she clever, you guys? If you don't believe her, just ask her. One of my favorite expressions, which I've said before, and I will say again, one of my favorite expressions that I do believe applies to this situation with these two is, does it hurt your back to kiss your own ass like this? Because that's where I feel like we're at. Does it hurt your back to kiss your own ass with this? Well, guys, I don't know what else to say. That's my opinion on these two jackasses. I welcome yours. I love reading your comments. I truly do. You guys bring up so many interesting points, and I love your take on things. So many of you have very funny things to say. So do leave me comments. I'll read them all, and I appreciate all the love and support. Definitely check out my other videos. I'll be posting all kinds of reactions as they come out to this part 2 of the quote-unquote documentary, and hey, if you want to discuss his book, I believe that hits in January. I am down to do that. I need a break before reading more of these two assholes, but I can't wait to see what new woe is me tales that they weave in that one. We'll see. We'll take a look and yeah, we'll discuss that as well. But guys, thanks so much for being here. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Check out my Patreon, patreon.com/Real Housewives Recaps. And I will be talking to you again soon. Take care. Bye-bye.